Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're all doing well. I just want to give you a reminder if you still want to take advantage of the 37% off on hair products, you can still get it in before midnight tonight, and all orders will be going out tomorrow. All right. So you just use promo code Summer Sale 37. And tonight, you don't even have to buy two items. If you buy one item, you'll get the 37% off. All right. So for the last few hours. All right, y'all. The Epstein victims were up on Capitol Hill and they gave a testimony of the things that happened to them. And a lot of people left out of there shook. Now, Epstein pretty much was a bunch of rich, wealthy white men that took advantage of underage girls, okay? And they did a lot of really heinous things to these young girls, which we should not be surprised because this is their culture. This is their culture, right? This is what they do. We know the heinous things they did to our people during chattel slavery. So they assaulted these men that had a lot of money, assaulted a bunch of women that were powerless. And it came out today there was more than 1,000 Epstein victims. It just goes to show you how long this stuff has been going on. And the FBI knew about Jeffrey Epstein 30 years ago. If they really wanted to stop Jeffrey Epstein, they had more than enough time, several decades to stop him. And it just goes to show you Jeffrey Epstein was the embodiment of white privilege, because I can promise you, if there was one of our men exploiting over 1,000 women, oh, it would never have it wouldn't even gone on for a year before they shut the whole thing down. So Jeffrey Epstein was at it for 3 decades. So, well, Donald Trump wants it to go away. The lawmakers are actually calling for the files to be released. And I was really shocked that Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, he called for the files to be released. So did Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and several of the Republicans said they're going to sign to have all the files released. Now, Pam Bondi, his little lapdog, she is trying to do everything she can not to release anything because she does whatever Donald Trump tells her. Even if she's breaking the law, she doesn't care. So we shall see where this goes. Now you understand why Donald Trump disappeared. He knew this stuff was coming out. And the stuff that was being thrown out of the window in trash bags, I think was evidence. And Donald Trump claims it was AI. I don't believe for one moment that was AI. That is their attempt to hide evidence. I think that's why green trash bags were being thrown out of windows. So anyway, y'all, we're going to listen to some of the victims. Now, the video is 29 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole 29 minutes, but you're going to listen to these women speak. I think it was about 6 of them that showed up on Capitol Hill, but there's way beyond that. They are saying that nobody from Donald Trump's DOJ ever contacted them when they were talking about moving Ghislaine Maxwell. They said nobody spoke to them. Nobody. So it's Trump's people that are trying to keep this whole thing silent. But I think at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to silence all of these women, and they want to. So, but y'all, I don't feel bad for these rich ass men being called out. Of all the things they can do, you can just see when these dudes have money, they do evil all over the place with their money. That's all they demonstrate. They don't do good with their money. They do just a whole bunch of evil mess. when they are wealthy. That's what it does prove. All right. Let me get this video up. All right, I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. All right, so NBC News did an exclusive interview with some of the Epstein victims. Now, they were talking about some of the things that happened to them. And I'm really surprised they're doing this. I didn't think they were going to do a victim thing after Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. So, but you know what? It's really not a victory, y'all. And this is why I'm saying this. They sure didn't do this when Jeffrey Epstein was alive, like they did to R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. They broadcast the victims while they are still living. They're doing Epstein, he's dead. You know, they didn't do this when he was alive. So I don't see it as a major victory, but let me go on. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. No, Gloria Allred is only Ellie Brown. She's only good for, going after black men. That's all Gloria Allred is good for. Thank you. Okay. Plus, I don't think she would do it. You know why? Jeffrey Epstein was a Jew, and Gloria Allred is Jewish too. So I for that reason alone, I don't think she would have went after him. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me get the sound on.
Tonight, as you can see, just really within the last couple of hours, I sat down exclusively with the biggest group of survivors and their family members brought together at the same time. Some of these people had never met each other before, including a woman who has never before come forward to share her story about the abuse she says she faced at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. I want to play for you now my conversation with these individuals you're hearing for the very first time right here on NBC News Now. A show of hands here, if you or somebody you love was abused or trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. All of you. So given that, you are here together, the 9 of you in this room, in this, what feels like a show of solidarity. Why? Why did you decide to come here today? Jess?
I'm coming here because there's been a severe miscarriage of justice, a delay in accountability, and we've all come together beautifully and tragically, which feels healing and devastating all at the same time, to speak out and to be fueled by each other's voices in a way that I don't know that we've had the opportunity to in the past.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully said. Yeah. I'm here for the same reasons, but for me, the most important thing is accountability. My whole mission is to get somebody, or the majority of the people, to be held accountable for what they did and what we've all been suffering through for the last, 15, 20 years.
Marika, you're somebody who has spoken publicly about your experience before. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you to be sitting alongside 8 other people in telling your story and in being here?
Today, I didn't think I would be here 6 years later from when I was here in 2019. I guess I'd just like to say that, I'm sorry, it's always a bit nerve-wracking to speak on camera like this, but I just want to say that the government has failed us. Maria Farmer reported this in 1996. And now there's a pending lawsuit where hopefully there will be some accountability.
Yeah. Lisa, how about you?
I'm here once again speaking our truth and kind of beside myself that we're even having to do this again because they never did what they should have done in the beginning. So now here we are having to do interviews like this to get our voices out there because they didn't just listen to us the first time we said it.
That must feel frustrating.
Extremely.
The idea of repeating, having to do this again and again. Did you ever think you'd have to?
No. I mean, in 2019, when I spoke up and went public on what had happened to me in 2003 at 14 years old was something that I should have never had to have done in my life. It should have been taken care of and handled from the beginning and been investigated properly so we wouldn't have had to be at this point, you know. I should have never had to put my face on camera so that someone would listen to me.
I want to first get to Sky and Amanda and Danny, who are here representing your sister, Virginia Giuffre. Danny, Sky, what message does it send to be here with this group in this, what, as Liz described, this almost show of strength?
She should be here. I am so honored to be here with you guys. She would be here. She'd be screaming, you know. And I think, you know, they said it best. It's like, if I could really say what we're looking for out of this is justice, looking for accountability. And I think it's, you know, we really have to start questioning, what do we stand for? So, you know, it means the world to be here with you, all of you. And, you know, I think this is only the beginning of what's really to come, because showing a force like this, they have to listen now.
Some of you had not met before today. Am I right in understanding that? This is your first time for some of you meeting each other.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No.
And Wendy, yeah, take a beat. No, because this is your first time. You had never before spoken publicly about your experience.
Correct.
I'm going to ask you to share some of your experience now. What were your interactions with Jeffrey Epstein? What can you tell us?
My interactions, if you guys have followed or know Jenna's story, Jenna is one of my best friends from middle school, I would say. And it's pretty much the same story in that aspect.
How old were you?
I was 14.
And how did you first encounter either Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
Through friends. It was very normal, I guess. Through friends.
And where were you? This was in Florida?
Yes.
And did you go to the home in Palm Beach? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, I went to the home in Palm Beach.
Okay. And what were you involved in there? What did he ask you to do?
I'm not really comfortable answering that.
Okay.
It's the same as if you follow the story, you know what I was asked to do.
How did you extract yourself from this abuse?
I moved very quickly. My family moved me out of Florida, so I exited that world and had no access to it, thankfully.
And how did you cope with that trauma?
You just put it behind you and don't think about it.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, until it was brought up that, hey, this is a big deal in 2019, I think. This is a real big deal and it's your truth. So here's what's happening. And that's so.
It sounds like you almost buried Jeffrey Epstein's memory, his name.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, all these years later, here it comes back into the public spotlight again. What was that like for you?
It's so I had never really thought about it, I guess, because I just put it behind you, didn't talk about it, didn't think about it, nothing. And it was kind of like, okay, now you have to heal from this. Now you have to address it and face it for the first time ever. Like, this is real.
It's almost like you're in denial, maybe?
No, I just, at that point, like I'm 30, I had moved on. I had a career, I'm a family. And now it's like, okay, well, it's the truth and it's my truth. So it's time to start processing through that.
At the time, did you tell any of your family members what had happened to you with Epstein?
At that time, no,
After, did you?
no,
When did you finally tell, if you have, I assume to this point, told family members?
yes.
Okay.
I told pretty much after everything was in motion.
Okay. Meaning the cases and the investigation.
That I had decided that I was going to pursue it. So I had to come clean to people and be like, hey, I did this and I don't know what's going to happen, but it is true.
Did you reach out to law enforcement at that point?
No, I was contacted through, through the puzzle pieces that they put together to connect victims to victims to victims. I was on the bulletin board somewhere.
And here you are all these years later, sitting in this room with these other women, with these other family members. Why now? Why are you deciding to speak and to share your story now?
Because not everybody is getting justice, and that's not right. Just because you think that some victims in their mind got justice, that it's not right. The everyday person is out there, and that's me. And we're victims. You could be, your neighbor could be a victim and you don't know it. The person you pass in a grocery store and they're not talking. And I think that, like she said, power in numbers, even if I'm just counted as statistically in numbers as another victim, that's enough for me. They're not protecting our youth. They're continuing to allow the same thing that happened to us is happening still. Maybe not with, them, but it happens and it's happening. So I took my time in saying something, and I've always been in contact with Jenna. I had a young daughter trying to start my career. It was a big shock to my husband. So I took the time and I said, when I felt like I was ready, it's not a secret. It's just something that I didn't normally talk about.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready to say, you know what? If I am the everyday Joe Schmo and I have this story, I know I want to be able to inspire other people to say, hey, me too. I mean, I hate this. I don't want to say the me too, not trying to do that, but it happened to me too. And I want to support her. She's been doing all this for years alone, and she doesn't deserve to do it alone.
And I know that that's emotional for you. I can see it in you.
And it's also emotional. I haven't met them today, but going through stuff like this, especially as an adult, it brings up a lot of mental health issues. And I've thought of hurting myself. And not now, but, over the last 6 or so years, just going through all this, and it's hard. And I know that if I have those thoughts and Virginia has those thoughts and we're victims, how many more of us do we have to lose?
Why do you want to see more of these documents released publicly?
Accountability, right? I think all this time, we've forgotten how large of a scale this really is. What Virginia did, what these women did, it's unprecedented. This was a global operation. It takes multiple people to make this happen over a span of decades. Those people deserve to be accountable too, okay? And they have that information. They have that information. They have the power to do the right thing. And that is what we're here for.
Are you all satisfied, and then I'll do a couple more show of hands, but are you all satisfied generally with the level of communication that you've had or that your representatives have had from members of Congress? Do you feel like your voices have been heard from members of Congress?
No.
Jess, you're giving me a face. You're saying no way.
My eyebrows don't lie. No, I've heard zero communication. I mean, I don't know about it. I've heard nothing from any representatives personally. I have not.
So can I get a show of hands? Who here is satisfied with the level of contact they've had from Congress? Nobody. Let me ask this. How about the Justice Department? I want to ask a couple of things about what you knew about things that were happening with this case that you're obviously involved with. Show of hands. Did any of you hear from the Justice Department before they released that memo, that 2-page memo earlier this summer? No hands. Were any of you told that Todd Blanche would be speaking with Ghislaine Maxwell prior to that interview over the course of 2 days?
No.
No. Were any of you told about the prison transfer that Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
Do any of you feel that the DOJ has communicated with you enough this year?
No.
No.
Have any of you had any communication with the DOJ?
No.
Nobody in this room has heard at all from the Department of Justice?
No.
Is that surprising to you?
No.
It should be.
It should, yeah,
Right?
it should be.
You would think.
It's their job. This is the center of this whole entire case. They are the center. Why would you, Ghislaine Maxwell, let's get this right before the narrative changes. And I believe that so strongly that is the intent of her. She's trying to rewrite history.
Yes.
And it was almost like she was given that platform to do that. And that is not acceptable on any terms. She wasn't just this co-conspirator and that was her boyfriend. She was actively participant. She preyed upon these young girls and she used her womanhood to do it.
Yes.
Okay, Virginia said it best. She was vicious. She was a monster. She doesn't deserve any type of platform.
Or yoga and Pilates.
That's a reference to the prison camp she's now in.
Yeah. I mean, it's absurd. It's
Yeah.
absurd what's happening.
Liz, I have to ask you, what did you think when you heard about, let me start with the interview that the Deputy Attorney General, that Todd Blanche conducted over the course of a couple of days with Ghislaine Maxwell. When you heard that was being done, when you saw that transcript, when you heard her voice in that audio, what was that like for you?
I hope that I'm speaking for all of us and saying we are willing to do whatever we need to find justice. And we're willing to talk about what happened to us so that the public knows what the truth is and not the lies of someone who was convicted of this crime, whose freedom is being held in the balance, and who has their own motives to both protect others and protect herself.
And Lisa, to you, as somebody who attended Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, or at least parts of it,
Yes, I did.
the interview, the release of that audio, the prison transfer. What did you make of all that as it was happening over the course of the summer?
I was just disgusted by it. It just, like she said, she was an abuser. There was one point when Jeffrey had called me to go meet with her after I had met her at a function, at a charity event. I mean, thank God I didn't go. But just the climate in New York at that time, everybody knew that she was working with him or had something that wasn't right with her. And so much has come out since then that we know, her great involvement. I mean, some even say that she was the one that was the mastermind of a lot of it. I'm not sure about that, but regardless, she is the abuser. And why are we so concerned with how she feels about things and her opinions about Trump or anybody else? She's a convicted felon. And so we need to move on from, highlighting her as someone that we should be listening to.
So what would you say to the Department of Justice as they were pursuing these conversations with her?
They have emails, they have flight logs, they have a list they've compiled, right? And I feel like if they're not going to release this list to the public that everybody wants to see, we want to know who it is. A lot of us survivors know. We've been compiling lists of our own, and we have so many other survivors. Please come forward, and we'll compile our own list and seek justice for, on our own. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen next.
Are there other prominent individuals that you saw when you were with Jeffrey Epstein and others who you think should be followed up on by law enforcement?
Well, let me get this straight. Jeffrey wasn't doing this for himself. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The parties, the charity events, on the island, everyone that he was involved with, not everybody, because obviously there were people that didn't know about what he was doing. But there were many people that knew what he was doing that were involved in the sex trafficking ring.
Your sister described Ghislaine Maxwell as more evil than Jeffrey Epstein. That was something that she said publicly.
Yes.
And so I have to ask, in the context of what is also in the ether at the moment, this idea of a potential pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, how would you feel if she were to be pardoned, given your sister's comments about Maxwell?
I think it's the biggest slap in the face for us as a family and to these girls and anybody that's been impacted by her. I don't think 20 years is enough.
Yeah.
You're referring to her sentence.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm going to stop it right there. You know what? I believe Donald Trump is going to try to do something to let Ghislaine Maxwell go. That's why she was moved from a maximum security jail to a minimum. She's literally, this abuser of underage girls is in a minimum security prison. And you know darn well she don't belong in no minimum security prison, but that's where Donald Trump had her moved. And I'd be honest with you, I wouldn't trust no testimony from this woman. I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell, anything she says, I think it should not be taken seriously. And remember, Donald Trump's lawyers already met with her. The DOJ already met with her. So she probably promised not to say anything that would incriminate Donald Trump. That's why she was moved. And eventually, I think, as long as Donald Trump is not really implicated, he gonna let her walk. And I don't think she deserves to walk at all. But yeah, he moved her for a reason. She's in Club Fed now. And she was supposed to do 20 years in a maximum security jail. But she's in minimum security, which means she's going to be free. When you're in minimum security, you're free to walk around. You don't have to stay in your cell. You can get up and move around. And usually Club Fed, those rooms are like a hotel room. That's where she is now. So this whole thing is a joke. I'm not sure if anything is going to happen because these are a bunch of wealthy white men that did this thing. And because of that, I really truly believe, and women, and I really truly believe because they were predominantly white, I'll be shocked if it goes anywhere. You got a Congress and Senate right now that are afraid to come out after Donald Trump. They're scared of him. I mean, the whole time Donald Trump has been in office, the Democrats have been as quiet as a church mouse. They hardly come out to speak against Donald Trump. All right. And the Republicans are afraid of him. They're afraid to oppose Donald Trump. They're not going to do that. They will just sit and be quiet. They don't even oppose Donald Trump or give a lot of hard pushback. So no, I would not be surprised if they all get away with it. They probably done paid off Ghislaine Maxwell to lie in her testimony because she's supposed to testify on Capitol Hill. And I bet you that's why she got moved to Club Fed, because they were able to negotiate a deal between Donald Trump's lawyers and her lawyer. And no, she really don't deserve that. All right, y'all. So let's see. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for the new channel membership. Deeply appreciate your support. And PM, white supremacy is a dirty, foul, self-cannibalizing belief system that implodes upon itself. Let's keep his word, keep our prayers, and let the Most High clear the way for the return to peace and righteousness. Yes, you ain't never lie. Thank you so much, PM, for your support for my channel. Yes, I definitely believe that. We got to just face the fact, as long as these folks are in charge, nothing is ever going to be right. It is going to be nothing but evil in the world as long as they're the ones leading it. And the only thing we have to do, like you said, PM, stay prayed up. That's the only thing that's going to help us get through it all. Mhm. But one thing I really like about the 3I Atlas, how many of our people are coming online telling, other Hebrews, don't fear this thing. Whatever happens, it's not for us. This is the Gentiles' judgment. I like that because it tells me a lot of our people in these final times are ready to just stay out of anything that's going on with these Gentiles. And I love it. And that is what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do, you know? And listening to this is sickening. Like I said, I was reading earlier, there's over 1,000 of these girls that were victimized by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. But these folks want to spend their time talking about black on black crime, y'all. What a joke. What a joke. For real. What a joke. No, none of us really should be Charles McGregory. We shouldn't be afraid because that judgment is for them. It's not for us. That judgment is not for us. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Just wanted to give you some idea on how these girls are speaking out. And Donald Trump did a press conference today and still calling the Epstein files a hoax. Okay, so I guess the victims are a hoax, the files are a hoax. I hope he knows calling it a hoax is not going anywhere. This is not doing anything for Donald Trump, but he will find out the hard way. I think what it is with Donald Trump, he's afraid he could possibly lose his presidency if too much of this stuff comes out. So he's trying to head it off. He's trying to block it. Pam Bondi is also trying to block the files from coming out. And what they really need is a special prosecutor to come in that have no connection to Pam Bondi, no connection to Donald Trump to really take over the files. But as long as it's in Donald Trump and Pam Bondi's possession, it's going to be all kinds of shady stuff going on with these Epstein files. So, y'all, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and be on the lookout for my live streams that I have set for tomorrow. Shalom, family.